Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Grev, and you are joining the Rip Roaring Reds. We have just come off a 5-0 victory at home over Chelsea. I'm joined by my co-host, Jace. Both of us are beaming. How the fuck are you, Jace?
Oh, mate, it's an amazing evening. I can't believe 5-0. I was not expecting that at the beginning of the night. Were you expecting that? I was going, it's going to be hard. I just thought after Man United, Chelsea the other week, always challenging against Chelsea. I was not expecting that, and that just it just kicked the life back into me. I'm very, very happy. I hate Chelsea. I admit it. I don't care. I hate more than Spurs. Something about Chelsea I absolutely hate. And Kai Havertz scoring 2 goals against them. Oh, I fucking love it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I am with you. I mean, to be honest, it's funny enough. I watched back the last part of the last podcast we did where you were worried. It was written all over your face and in your words that you were somewhat dejected or panicky about this game. And even I think I changed my mind from 2-1 to 2-0. I wasn't like super confident, but
I went 3-1.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, wow, though. That was some performance by our team. Look, if it's the first time you're joining us, I don't want to get into all the superlatives yet or any of the kind of big hyperbole that we're going to get into. But if you're the first time joining us, please do give this channel a subscribe. Please do give this video a like. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the first thing that we always talk about. It's the Rip Roaring Review. It's your week in Arsenal, your day in Arsenal. Tell me, Jace, what's your Rip Roaring Review from that Chelsea game right now?
So many things. Where do I start? I'm going to start with Fabio is alive. Fabio is alive, Grev. Did you know that? He's got a beard and everything. He's got a beard. He's in the patchiness in his beard. He's not quite grown out, has he? No. Look, Fabio was great to see him come on. It was great to see us at the end use our substitutions in a way where we're tactically resting players for the next game, which is a big game against Spurs. We're already thinking ahead. That game was done. And I thought Fabio played okay when he came on as well. So I just want to do a little call out to him because I don't think we're going to focus much on him during the podcast. I think there's a lot of other things that we're going to talk about. So Fabio's alive. We are 5+ goals. I believe they are. Was it Ali McCoy saying that was, or one of them was saying that's worth a point. That's worth a point almost. I never really thought about that. I mean, it probably doesn't mean anything because in theory, if City win their games in hand, they got 2 points on us. So if they only, it doesn't really mean bugger all unless we're level on points, really, I guess. But look, I'm very happy. A brilliant performance. If it took those 2 games, that kind of small slump to kick us back into gear, I'm happy. We just have to do everything to the end of the season. And then, if we don't win the league because of one loss against one team, or it won't be one game, we don't win the league, and we can dissect that, in a month's time. But who cares right now? We're in it. We're going for it. We're scoring for fun. Even the Wolves game, we were creating the same level of chances we were creating at times tonight. We just weren't putting them away. Tonight we put them away. Our goal difference is brilliant. We're top of the league. It's over to the other teams. We're doing our bit.
Yeah, I think that is actually a bit of mine that I wanted to go into. I'm with you. The subs, the resting of players once we're ahead and we were 3 or 4 up. That was great to see. Good to see, giving some minutes in the legs of other players. But also, like you say, the pressure now and the onus is on Man City, is on Liverpool to catch up with us. We've put the marker down. We're 3 points clear, and they're going to have to. We all know that City can do it, but that's not to say that they can. We just know that they can, but not to say that they will. And so the pressure is on them. And I think it's like I kind of prefer to be chasing a little bit in that position. And it kind of feels like as long as we can take it to the last game of the season, I'll be happy. I think, like I say, we could dissect the Aston Villa game, the West Ham game, the Fulham game, and we will do that towards the end of the season. We might look back on those as missed opportunities or, I don't know, silliness or naivety, whatever you want to look at it. But we're in it. We're in the mix right now. I am beaming. I am so, so happy. That was an incredible performance, an absolutely incredible. Some of the football we played during that game was unbelievable.
Best of the season. Best of the season, I think.
There definitely were. Yeah, I mean, there definitely were. Yeah, I think I probably agree with you. That other than, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, but I think that generally is the most it was a great game of football as well. The first half, particularly, even though it was very end to end, it was very engaging. I wasn't, sometimes this season, by the way that we've killed teams off, it gets a bit boring. And admittedly, you can't be really that bored when you're winning 5-0 against a London derby. But you know what I mean? Sometimes we have got into games where it's a bit like, we're just suffocating teams and we know they're not going to come back into it. But that was just fun. Watching how much do they cost? $250 million. Some of their, two of their players together is like $250 million.
They've spent over $1 billion, haven't they? And the value of that squad. I mean, obviously our squad's quite expensive too now, but still not expensive as theirs.
Not to that level. And Pochettino has obviously got Spurs heritage, and it's just great to just, like you, I don't like Chelsea, and it's just great to do it over them. I don't know many Chelsea fans because I don't know if they even exist, particularly within our generation, right, Jace?
Well, there's a few, isn't there?
But I'm lumping myself in with you that you're significantly younger than me. I'm just like, I'm with you, Jace. I'm the same generation. It's fine.
It's not too much difference. I know a couple of, as a chat I've got going, it was going off while the game was on between a couple of Spurs and Chelsea mates from an old job I used to work in. And they're bouncing off each other, both worried about the fact that, either they're getting absolutely spanked now and the Spurs fans worried about the game, the way Ange ball's being played at the moment at the weekends. He's like, we play open football. Arsenal are going to love that. We'll see, right? We can talk about that at the end. But I know, right? I love it when we don't. It's very rare that we completely outplay. I mean, we've been beating Chelsea a lot regularly in their, let's say, their downward spiral years and our upwards trajectory years. But I fucking hate Chelsea. I love beating Chelsea. It's not necessarily the players for the club. It's the fan base a little bit. It's some of the heritage and rivalry it becomes between Arsenal fans and all the stuff they used to say about Wenger and Jose Mourinho and the fact that we were unbeatable and then they came and bought everything up and it changed.
And they got a European Cup now as well. It kind of changes it all as well.
Do you see that guy in the ground at the end? Like all the Chelsea fans had left. There's just one Chelsea fan just stood there like this with I don't know, it must have been a blow up European Cup because he wouldn't have got a real one in. I couldn't tell on TV. Just holding it like this. Just kept doing this.
I did see the 5-year-old with a sign that said, I don't want the shirt off your back. Yeah, play for it. And it was like, I can imagine his dad over his shoulder going, you will write that sign. Get on with it. Write the E backwards so it looks like a kid made it. It's just, I'm here for it. All for it. Anyway, right. Review's done. Right. I just wanted to, this is only a short bit. I want to just talk about the lineup real quick because me and you discussed this at the end of the last pod. What do we think the rotation? And I was like, they're not going to rotate anybody. I think they'll make some tactical changes, and those tactical changes that we made, I think, made this team. I think Havertz up top and Partey in that midfield completely changed the dynamic that we'd seen against Bayern and that we'd seen against Wolves in pockets, and it completely changed the way that we set up in this game.
It did. I was like this when, I was like, oh, Partey, interesting. Is that because Jorginho needs a rest again? Is that because it's his old team? Or, a young midfield against Jorginho could pull him apart. And then I was like, Partey, and I was like, what's it? Is this the old Partey that's going to turn up? Or is this the Partey that's on the crutches, can barely pass a ball or just pass into the opposition, which we've seen when he's been coming on? Mm-hmm. No, it was not. It was the old Thomas Partey. It's just like he's just get us a good start, shake the rust off, get that ball out your feet, and just a brilliant performance. I'm so happy to know that he can still play like that. He can still do that role in that way, because if he can, we're going to bring someone in anyway in the summer. I'm sure of it. We'll bring someone in. We're keeping Jorginho. We're doing an extension. And if we got Thomas Partey still as well, it's just such a depth midfield. And pretty good. I don't have any concerns of any one of them starting if they play the way they play usually.
Yeah, if they play at the top of where they can play, right? And that's like Partey. Although there was times where he maybe sat on the ball too much and he got caught while he was. But I suspect that's down to a bit of rust and he hasn't played enough games to kind of be at the pace of the league yet. But within the first 5 minutes, I think there was enough to show you. He recovered the ball twice within the first 3 minutes. And it's just his progressive play as well.
Yeah.
Like he is always trying to find that forward pass. And he played some incredible balls through to Saka. And it's not only that, he releases Declan Rice. When you play that other person alongside him, the same way Jorginho or Partey, you store it. Declan Rice made Havertz one of the goals. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Trossard's goal. He just drove forward and his ball carrying ability to release that pass, and all of that is made by the fact that Partey can sit deeper and allow him to be a much more progressive ball carrying midfielder. And I really do applaud Arteta because we've given him critique over the fact of maybe not rotating, maybe not resting. The right players were picked in this game, and it proved dividends, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was the right lineup choices. It was the right tactical decisions. It was the right way right game to rest certain players. He just got it all right. There was no question of his game management this evening, right? It was he got it spot on.
Well, let's go into this, right? So before we get into lauding all the praise at all the feet of all the right players as we get in through this podcast, let's maybe just spend a few minutes just to talk about where our heads were at in that first half at the halftime whistle, because I'd like to hear what your thoughts are, right, Jace, when you went away and probably vegetated on the state of the first half and maybe the opportunities that passed us by and what could have been. What do you think of our first half performance, and were you worried?
Good question. I've stopped being as nervous in the last this season, really, because I feel like our level is up and I have much more faith than I ever used to have in the team. But there was the repeated question going around in my head of, did we not take our chances? That was the question going around in my head. Because we have seen in a couple of games where we're still 1-0 in the last 75 minutes. Wolves at the weekend, it was still 1-0 in the last 75, 80 minutes. And we were like, we should have put that game to bed so much earlier. The difference between Wolves and Chelsea is the way Chelsea were playing in the first half. You didn't want to be playing Chelsea in the last 75 minutes. In the last 15 minutes. With the way that they were playing in the first half, we've seen them do a comeback over Man United. They did look aggressive in the first half. They made us look a bit vulnerable on the counter. Particularly wanted to call out Jackson. Had probably the first striker since Ivan Toney against Brentford I've seen have the beating of Saliba a few times. Not necessarily physically, but definitely in pace-wise, right? Because I think Saliba won one of the challenges against him physically, but the ball slipped in a way that he couldn't quite get to it, and Jackson got the knock and he was gone. And it took for Saliba to get right to the byline before he managed to get anywhere near him, and then luckily it bounced off Gabriel, but almost went in, right? So, and there was another time as well, Willow got caught a bit lackadaisical on the ball a bit before that, and he gave the ball away there. So there was some vulnerabilities of things which are, I don't want to heavily critique. I just want to call out that we need to stay on our toes. We need to be aware. We need to be savvy. I think there were some elements of our first half performance where, they did make us look vulnerable at times. A couple of chances on the counter attack, and they whipped a lot of balls across the box. But they just didn't get connection on quite a few of them. So first half, I did have a little bit of concern at half time, but that was quickly put to bed very quickly.
I mean, I had a wobble that I maybe was more worried. I don't know. There was an element that we weren't taking our chances, and we had this discussion on previous pods again as well, where we've been guilty of playing with our food a little bit and not putting things to bed and not putting teams to the sword when we really should have. And this game in particular, we got the rub of the green a little bit because. You're right. They did have opportunities. That ball across the goal that Madueke, I think, or Jackson could have finished off. You're talking about having the beating of Saliba. I also think Tomiyasu was on toast a couple of times by Madueke as well. He got down that right hand side quite easily. far too easily actually. But I think he did recover well into that game as well. So we were in the first half. I just feel that we were fortunate, and I know that we came out absolutely all guns blazing. And I actually think that first 20 minutes of that game is probably the best I've seen us play. I think everything was it other than defensively, which is really weird because most of this season has been made up of us being defensively resolute and not having enough up top. That was the first half of the season. That's how we discussed it. And then the second half of the season, we kind of found our way a little bit. And now we're the top goal scoring team in the league. And it's marrying those two things together. And I did think that going forward, some of our play was so intricate, so silky, so smooth. All the passing, little turns, little cross, little reverse passes. They were so intricate, so detailed, so beautiful. It was like watching art. But defensively, we weren't as self-assured, and like you say, it could have came back to bite us. And luckily, it didn't. I don't like you. I don't want to labour over this point because really, we just won 5-0, and there's not really a lot to say on this front. But if they had come out and scored a goal at the start of that second half, it could have been a very, very different game. And fortunately for us, it wasn't. And we came out second half like an absolute. I don't know what changed. I don't know what team talk Arteta had done, but we came out like a man possessed. It was incredible. So let's maybe. I wanted to talk about one player in particular first before we get onto a wealth of choices. Benny Blanco, is he the best right back in the world right now, Jace?
I don't know. It's the honest answer to that, because that's quite a big statement, and I don't want my Arsenal bias to maybe influence the question if you're asking me genuinely. Look, his performance this evening was just I don't know how to. There's no words that can describe the level of performance he put in. 2 goals, 1 hilarious goal in my opinion.
I love his face. I'm going to use it for the thumbnail because it is the best picture ever. It's just a great he 100% did not mean it.
Oh yeah, he should have. If you're playing Artetable, you should have passed it, and he's hit it, and to the point where Arteta's like this when he goes in, he's like, and he doesn't even celebrate. He's just like that. So I got my hands all up my head. He doesn't deserve it. Yeah, he's like. That does not deserve a goal. It was hilarious. But he, again, consistency from him tonight, the continuous amounts of overlapping as well. Most I've seen him overlap all season. And when he overlaps, we play good. We are an attacking threat when he overlaps. So he was on it all night. Defensively, he's always solid. You can always trust him at the back. The only times I say we got caught short was when he went forward and they quickly pounced on the counter that left Willow a bit vulnerable to Jackson. That was the big kind of major concern, but I wouldn't blame Ben for that. That's Arsenal should have a tactical solution. And if we're going to make Ben go forwards, we need to be able to deal with anything coming at the back. So, yeah, I mean, it's a 10 out of 10. I'd give him a 10. I'd give him the man of the match, but I think everyone knows who we've got to give the man of the match to. So it's a bit...
We'll get on to that. It's a difficult one, right?
I would have given it to Ben. Well, I don't know. Everyone's saying that they have to give it to Martin Odegaard, and I understand why, but I think Martin's had plenty of performances where you could give him the man of the match. So you've got to share it around. Maybe Ben should have had it, but... I'd love for him to have got a hat trick. That's what I would have loved. Let him
it would have been incredible for a right back to have a hat trick. I would, like you. There was a bit the overlaps. You're right. I think that's the biggest point I kind of took away from this game. Is and we've said this before. When he does overlap, it creates a different dynamic for our team. And the one thing that I would say, compared to some maybe like a Trent, where Trent bombs up and down that wing, mostly for the entirety of the game. Ben White doesn't do that. He seems much more tactically astute when it comes to when he goes and when he stays, because there's a lot of, plaudits at Trent's going forward play, but somewhat a lot of people talk about his defensive vulnerabilities in the same way they do about Zinchenko sometimes, that he's just not that good at holding the ball out, where Ben White does both of those so well, and tactically he knows when to stay and when to go. And you're right, those overlaps are so well timed as well. They are incredibly well timed. Like, he knows exactly the time to break. He knows when to play the ball. And yeah, like you say, he's so confident. And when he's in that mood, you can just tell on his face that they're just really enjoying playing football as well. At the time when you're enjoying playing your football and the freedom that gives you in playing Arteta's way of playing, it's such a great thing to see. I love that goal. I love the first goal as well. Really confident, really self-assured, really well taken. Second goal was just silly, absolute nonsense. Shouldn't be scoring that by any means. And Petrovic just didn't know what to do with himself. I'm looking down the league. I'm like Kyle Walker. I'm looking at Trent. He's better than both of those, in my opinion, right now. He's beating both of those two. And I don't feel, at least in the Premier League right now, I'd say he's there.
I think he's close. Premier League. Yeah, he's in the mix. He's definitely in the mixer. It depends on what you want in it. Do you know what? It genuinely comes down to, I don't think that particular position, you can say the player in this position is the best person for the job as a right back in the world. Why? Because I just think it completely depends on how your team's tactically set up. Ben is the best right back in the world for us based on how we need to set up. He wouldn't be the best right back in the world for Liverpool.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And that thing goes back to why he probably doesn't get picked for England, because there's a belief that, and why he didn't originally, and I know there's been falling out since then, but because he's not, that system doesn't work for the type of right back that he is.
Yeah, well, the system's rubbish and the manager doesn't know what he's doing, so who cares?
True.
Move on.
Let's not get into it. I know I'm going to start Jason off otherwise and pull the ripcord on him. That was an absolutely magic performance. This segment is called Absolute Magic, and I could be laying the flowers at the feet of obviously Martin Ødegaard, but there is so much to choose from here. I was honestly, I was like a bit bereft of like what to call segments, what to talk about, because there were so many great performances out on that pitch today. I'll let you, Jace, have the honour of picking and choosing. You could go Martin Ødegaard. I'm sure you will if you want to.
No, I won't go. I won't go Martin.
All right,
Ødegaard.
go on then. Where are you going to go? What's your pick of the litter?
There is almost a little bit of an apology coming out here in this. Trossard, brilliant performance, absolutely brilliant performance. I said that you couldn't play him and Saka. We've been talking about the fact that you can't always play him and Saka together. Prove me wrong tonight. The intricacy of the football, the 1-2s, the footwork, the interplay with Declan Rice. When Declan Rice is in that left 8 and they play like that, that is perfect. I have no complaints with that. It works sublime. And then he took his chance as well when he got it. So, he doesn't score when he starts. He does now. He's done in the last 2 games. So a little bit of an apology for Tross. Brilliant performance tonight. Superb. I think he should have had 2, if I'm honest. I think he got unlucky. Just a brilliant performance. So
it's really good as well. I think
that
he's finding form just as Martinelli is losing it quite substantially, and that's a good thing to have, right? Though you don't want to find is 2 players losing it at the same time. We are fortunate that he has, found his feet a little bit in a starting berth where we needed it.
Yeah, and he is the starter there at the moment for me now. Like Martinelli coming on, I was like, go on, finish that. When he was through on goal in the last minute, finish it. He hit it straight down the middle, straight at the keeper.
He's such he's so lost of confidence.
He's in a bad place.
Isn't it? That's the thing, and this is similar to when Havertz at the start of the season. Havertz was like this. He was snatching at shots. He was missing everything. And when Martin Ødegaard gave him the ball to score that penalty, that's the kind of moment that Martinelli needs. And there's probably not enough games left in the season now for him to maybe find the form that we'll need him to close out the season. But that's the kind of, and like I said, it's fortunate that we've got to a position where Trossard has managed to kind of do that.
Yeah, I mean, he's taking his chances when in critical moments and scoring goals for us at critical times. We can't ask any more than that.
That is true. I mean, that's the biggest point. I think he scores for us at critical moments, and that's something that. What more can you ask a player to do?
Nothing in that perspective. Nothing. Long as there's no goals conceded, and we don't need to ask him to score more.
Yeah,
there's nothing else we can ask him to do. So go on, talk to me. So we talked about Trossard's. Obviously, Odegaard's a subject to talk about. Anyone else, though, apart from Odegaard, you want to call out?
Yeah, of course. I was going to leave Odegaard as well. Come on. There's a song, and we're probably all dancing in our room going waka waka non-stop, Jace. I'm sure you were there too. I think I said to you before, I was like, what better game to bring Havertz as a 9 into than against his former club and to literally embarrass them. And there was points towards the start of this game where he made the wrong decision, and there was a lot of discussion, I think, about his decision making in the final third can sometimes be left wanting. His off the ball play and his movement and his pressing and his passing is incredible. He plays in that false 9 role, probably the best I've seen any player play it. He does everything right. The movement off the ball, the passing, the winning of the duels, the headers, all of that is his all-round play is almost perfect. But then it's like as soon as he enters that kind of final third and wants to take a shot, it's kind of like he's bereft of ideas. He kind of fluffs his lines a little bit. He doesn't know what choices to make, and he usually makes the wrong one. And there was an element for me that I thought that was going to be the tell of his game. And oh boy, did he prove me wrong.
Well, there was first chance, took the shot. Oh, no, sorry. Passed it. Should have took the shot.
Yeah.
Second chance. Threw on goal. Took the shot. Should have passed the Trossard.
Yeah, and but that's what I say. It's like he could do no right in those situations, and it was a bit odd. And like I say, he came out in the second half a different beast. Like that finish, the little chip over the top and the strength, and I think he used like a really strong arm to hold off the defender. Played a proper striker's role, and that second goal was it was absolutely filthy, an absolutely filthy finish. Like the reverse shot to hit the post, and like Petrovic just had to watch it. He had no other choice because he'd literally either given him the eyes or given him the false pass because he was the other way, and he just watched it go past him. And I said, "Oh, that's filthy." My wife turns to me, and goes, "Can you stop saying everything's filthy?" But it was filthy. It was like honestly that I've never. There's no player I think that I've wanted to succeed in an Arsenal shirt as much as I have for Kai Havertz for a multitude of different reasons. And I think I'd sent my apology letter in the post many games ago, Jason. When that song hits in the crowd, it's like absolute crack. I love it. Absolutely love it. It's such a good chant. The irony is incredible. The fans chanting it. He is loving it. And I think I'll let you say the bit that you wanted to say because I know there's a bit on Havertz that you just wanted to happen that you couldn't.
I wanted him the hat trick. I love the fact, as I said, I absolutely hate Chelsea, and then the crap and the stick that they gave him for all of his performances, and I think it was just genuinely right that he didn't have the right coach at Chelsea. They didn't play the way that brought the best out of him, and Arteta knew what he was doing when he was bringing him in. He took him time to bed in, and now we're seeing one of the best players in the league this season. I genuinely think the second half of the season, the way he's turned it on, one of the best players in the league, one of the best forwards in the league, and it's looking stupid business from Chelsea to give him up. One of my Chelsea fans joked on the chat saying Todd Bowley texting to see if he can put £180 million bid in for Havertz.
Would we take it? Is the question.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't. Look, it just his superb performance, and the one thing is if he got the hat trick, and I think I said to you I messaged you going, Kai, run the pitch, knee slide in front of the Chelsea fans and just stick it to him. Obviously, I know that's not allowed after Adebayo incident. I don't think players are allowed to do that anymore because it's actively provoking the away support. But I'd have loved to see it because he's got so much. It's not in the
spirit of the game, Jace. It's not in the spirit of the game.
At the same time, how some players are a bit reserved when they play their old clubs. He wasn't. He celebrated hard, and I was like, good on him.
Yeah, good on him. 16 goals and assists in the Premier League in 33 games. As a return in some way, shape, or form in goal involvement every other game is quite an incredible return for a first season under Arteta for a player that was really null and void, I suppose, in terms of his own confidence and his own ability.
And let's also be clear, he hasn't played up front all season. Half of that, I would say a third to half of those games with Eddie or Gabriel Jesus playing up front. in the first half of the season, right? It was only when I believe the game against Liverpool was the pivotal point at home when I think it was the FA Cup game, maybe
when
it
that
might have
started to
been.
click.
Yeah, when it started to click, and we sort of was like, oh, he's put Kai right down the middle, and we lost that game. But you did see, and again, that FA Cup game, to lose that FA Cup game still annoys me. It's another game that we shouldn't have lost this year. But if you look at that performance, that was when it clicked. That's when you saw the balls going down the middle and through the channels to Havertz, and he was getting on them. He didn't quite convert in that game, but it changed it, and it changed how we play instantly. And ever since then, we've had this different cheat code almost for attacking. And
well, I have a question for you then, because I was debating this in my own head. There's still a lot of talk about a striker and us needing one and going to get one. And like I say, if we do go and get one, what do you think that does in terms of it changes? Because every time we have been playing Jesus, like we say, we drop Havertz into the left 8, and he's just not as prolific, not as involved, not as dynamic in his movement. But let's say we do go out and buy an out-and-out striker, not a false 9. What do you think that does for Havertz? Do you think it's just he'll be a bench player where he gets involved as a false 9, or do you think he falls back into that left 8?
I don't think we get a striker.
You don't think we do?
I reckon. Well, we need a winger. I'll put our money.
Hey, Jace, let's not get. I get that, but because I looked at that first half and thought if we had a striker, that game would have been to bed.
Yeah, but I think Havertz brings something different to the play in that position. Well, put it this way: if we did get another striker, we sell Jesus and we sell Eddie Nketiah. Or, as I said previously, Jesus becomes a winger.
Yeah, I think we keep Jesus as a winger. I think we can not cash in, because I don't think you'll get a lot for Eddie. But yeah, I agree that he needs to go.
And what happens to Havertz? I think he'll still get a fair amount of games. It'll be interchangeable. It'll be exactly what you see at City and Liverpool. It won't be that he's on the bench all the time. Yeah. Players are going to have to accept to be that. I mean, that's just the norm, I think. I would say 3 or 4 big teams in Europe, Bayern Munich being one, with Coman, with Sane, with Gnabry, with Musiala, with Müller. They have interchanging starting.
So they have Harry Kane up front every single time.
Yeah, but he's just a weird circumstance. And then
the reason why I'm asking is it's the same with Haaland. I know Haaland and Alvarez kind of rotate a bit more, but particularly with fans, if we're going to pay 80 to 100 million for a striker, which is possible, I guess. I don't know.
Going rate for a striker.
I know, but then you're spending that amount of money.
Nunes does cost 80 million. He didn't play every game.
True. Yeah, it's just an interesting one. You know what I mean? There'll be discourse across fans if we're paying that type of money for a player that's not starting, in my opinion.
Maybe, but it's next season's problem, and let's come to it when we get to it.
All right. Let me. So obviously, we haven't talked about the magician. We haven't talked about the type of game that he had. Everything he touched in this game turned to gold. It was like one of those games where no matter what he did, everything was right. And some of the balls he played, some of the intricacy in his play, the involvement. I think that before I give you the baton, Jace, and let you riff, there's one thing I just want to. There was an element in this game where we were not high enough up the pitch. And Martin dragged his arms. He was like, we need to press it. There's a moment where we could have capitalized, and Declan Rice recovered the ball because of Martin Odegaard dragging that team up the pitch. We didn't score from it, but it kind of set it in my hand. This is like Arteta's dream. This is what Arteta demands from his players. This is what he wants. And when I can imagine when he sees it, it's like in any job, in any position in the world where you're a leader and you see the fruits of your labor and the things that you've taught, the things that you've coached, the things that you've encouraged become reality and start to naturally and organically occur across the pitch. I can imagine there was a smile across his face because it was everything that he'd embodied in this team and this spirit. and it was happening in front of him just through. And Martin Odegaard is just the intensity of what this team has become. And I love everything about the way that he presses. I talk about this a lot on the pod, where his engine is just absolutely incredible. And it was just a moment in this game that really encapsulated it for me, where he just kind of brought us back into it, knowing there was a moment, knowing there was an opportunity, knowing that there was something that needed to change, that the coach maybe the coach recognized it from the sidelines, I don't know. But that was just something for me that stood out. And I absolutely love him. And he's got so many good years ahead of him as well, that we've got him in his formative years. That for me is like the most incredible part of all of this. Is like, we are, like we talked about this on the previous pod, I'm sure. We're in phase 3, apparently. There's still more to come. And that is...
I think it's phase 4. Maybe just...
I know, but he said we're still in phase 3, which most people don't believe. But like, it
was ages ago now. If we win the league, we're safely in phase 4.
Yeah, but like, that for me, it really just made it to me. And for all of his really good passing and intricate play, that for me really encapsulated what he has become in this Arsenal side.
Yeah, look, it's again another player who, when he turns it on, you run out of ways to describe the brilliance of him. I would just say the things that I made notes on, just called out the vision. Some of the passes tonight, the vision, the angles in which he played those passes were just jaw-dropping. You just like, how can you... I mean, just some people just don't have a brain to see those passes, if that makes sense. He has a brain that can see these things, like Dennis Bergkamp. Just this ability to see things. And only certain people do that. Not everyone at that level can do that. I think that you'll find players across different levels of the game, whether they play on a Monday night, on a Sunday, whether they play in the Premier League. There are some people that just have this vision. They might not be gifted athletes, but they just have this ability and this vision.
Look, you can just say it's me, Jace, without saying it's me. It's fine. I don't mind the podcast.
I was going to say it was me. Did you see some of the goals I played on Monday night?
Unbelievable.
No, but Martin, yeah, the vision, the balls he was playing. At the same time, the control. I love the way where he catches the ball in our half. He's about to burst forward, but he gets marked down, and then he suddenly does the swivel on it, and he goes back on himself, changes direction, switches the play to the other side, because it just really disrupts the press from Chelsea and switches the play really nicely. Spatial awareness in those situations as well is brilliant. And the twinkle toes as well, the twists tonight, the turns, the little flicks, the little ability to move that ball quickly in between really tight spaces. I mean, he's just got everything, hasn't he? There's nothing. I think for me, I genuinely think, I know City and Liverpool are up for the league title as well with us. But when you look at the predicted the XG and the points and all that stuff, we're the one it should be like ahead.
Well, we're performing at the level that we are. Our performance matches where we're kind of at. Where I think the other teams are kind of exceeding where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, based on this season. And when I look at the squads, I know we've had these stupid games we chucked away, but when I look at the players overall, there's Odegaard and Declan Rice. For me, I don't know which one of them is going to get PFA Player of the Year, but it's got to be one of them. I will be absolutely gutted if a Man City player gets Player of the Year. I can see that maybe there's an English bias and it might go to Phil Foden. But and I'd understand why Phil Foden won it, because he's had a great season as well. But for someone that's watching Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice week in, week out, and especially Martin Odegaard, I'm like, these just something else. Just something else.
Yeah, I mean, Foden's output this year has been pretty incredible for his numbers, and I do. Yeah, It's a tough one because, like I say, for the performances, like I say, we watch Arsenal week in, week out, so our bias is laid out for all to see across the red that's surrounding us right now. But it will be a shame if he doesn't, and that we don't win the league as well, because I do feel, and that commentators have made points about this, so I'm not maybe letting my bias creep in too much, but we have been the most entertaining side across this season by far and away, and the football we've been playing by far and away has been better. It's just that those small crumbles can particularly maybe cost us that, and that's a shame. But it's a learning curve for us. It really, this is the second season where we have been in this position. You'd hope that across either next or the following, we're going to be at a much bigger and better position in terms of our competition for this league and other championships as well.
Yeah, you can say once, twice, don't make the mistake a third time. In theory, this is our second time. We could let it off, right? This time, we've said that before. There'll be no excuse next season, but hey, we're still in it, so that's not even right off the second time. Maybe we win it at the second go.
Whew. What a segue then, Jace. I think I wanted to move on to the parking lot. I don't think there's anything else that we need to talk about, because we're moving into a very important period that can make or break seasons for all of us, really. Liverpool tomorrow night against Everton, Merseyside derby. Everton are shit right now, and that's unfortunate. But like I said, form and ability and players and all that other stuff goes really out the window a little bit for a derby. And then Man City, I got Brighton on Thursday away from home. So both of those are away for our competition. Is there a chance, Jace? What do you think?
Yes, there's a chance.
So you're telling
me
there's a chance?
There's always a chance, mate. I think that City are going to be conservative against Brighton. Now they're going to come out and probably smash them now. I've said that. But did you see Pep really moaning about how close all the fixtures were together? The fact that they had to play Real Madrid, and then they had to play Chelsea, and then they got to play Brighton as well. And I was like, well, hang on. It's exactly the same for Arsenal.
I would also
the same night.
you did, but you can't argue when you're not resting players. That was my argument to him would be, don't bemoan the fixtures. You got the players. You've got the players to rotate.
Well, your bench is full of hundreds of millions of pounds worth of talent. The other thing also was, so I was looking at the days between it, and I was like, well, hang on, we played Saturday in a late kickoff, and now we've played Tuesday night. You're not playing. You played Saturday, and you're not playing now till Wednesday or Thursday. Did you say
Thursday night they're playing?
So it's like, shut up, stop complaining. It's the same. Like, all the teams competing for the league title are in the same position as you, so just behave. Is really what I was thinking about with that. But I do think they might. I think they'll win, unfortunately, but I think it'll be similar to the Chelsea game where it's the 1 or 2 goals. I don't know if they'll come out and absolutely turn it on like we did against Chelsea. Interestingly, though, they struggled to beat them 1-0, and we absolutely smashed them 5-0. Interesting. Liverpool are going to destroy Everton. Everton don't really have much luck in derby games against Liverpool, especially in the last few years. I'm not expecting that to be any different. So 3 points to Liverpool, tick, unfortunately.
It's not the hope that I wanted you to give me, Jace, but it's fine. I'll let you do it.
Well, I'd rather be this way and then be surprised.
Yeah. Hope for the worst. Was it hope for the worst, get the best, or something like that?
It's all right. We have. Do you want to know the goal difference? Tell you the goal difference right now.
Oh, it's like 12.
Arsenal have 56. Liverpool have 43. That's 13 goals plus for Arsenal, and City have 44. So that's 12.
So we need, basically, like I said, one draw for City, and the door is ajar. Now, like I say, we could be in a position by Sunday. We're the Super Sunday this week. We're in Vegas, Jace. We're going to be up bright and early for that game. Arsenal Spurs first of all, and then Man City versus Forest. And Man City are going to dick Forest. They are going to dick Forest. And so we have got that game, and it just it's really.
Do you remember last year, City lost at Forest? I don't know if it was this season or last season.
They did, yeah, 1-0. I know, but I think my head is going to a point.
When telling me not to believe.
I know. 2 seasons ago, was it 2 seasons ago when we played, or was it last season when we played Spurs and we were on the cusp of greatness? Or maybe it's like top 4, and they completely ruined us. Rob Holding got sent off. Was that the one?
Yeah, we bottled it at Tottenham and at Newcastle, didn't we? And we missed out on the Champions League. It was the Amazon documentary.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I don't anticipate this happening, and I hope that the way that they're playing football at the moment, it leaves they're so vulnerable. But also, like I said, form and everything goes out the window for this game. Tell me. We're going to leave on a note. What do you think the score is going to be? We've got Spurs this weekend, Jace. What do you think?
1-3 to the Arsenal. Or 3-1.
Is there anything different, Jace?
No.
I don't think they're going to score. I'm going 1-0 Arsenal.
Oh, you think?
I don't think Spurs will score, and I think it'll be a cagey. I think we might set up in this game in a similar vein to how we set up against City. I don't know if we're going to look at the way that they play and set up in a very open playing game, the way that we have against other teams.
I think we will set up how we went to play against City, because it's away at Spurs. The derby, it's going to be intense. In the same time, that Spurs teams had quite a bit of a transformation. The only so the Dyers, the Kanes, they're kind of gone. The sentiment of what it means in certain players is not maybe there as much. I think Ange Ball is going to come out, and so we'll set up how we play against City, and then Arteta's game management will adjust. And I believe once we realise how they're playing, we'll realise how to take them apart. That's my hope. That's what I would like to see happen. Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen.
No, true. And it's the hope that kills you, right, Jace?
Yeah, something like that.
Right. This weekend's going to be exciting. Thank you very much for joining us on the Rip Run Res podcast. We won't be back this weekend because we'll probably be either too tired, too pissed, or any other combination of those two things, I'd imagine. But we will be back in your ears, on your video screens for a future game in the near future. So please do join us. If you did like this video, please do give it a like. Please do give this channel a subscribe. Jace, if they're listening to this on any podcast provider of choice, what do we want our audience to be doing?
Yeah, please give us a follow on your podcast provider of choice. That will mean that you'll get the latest episodes in your feed as soon as they're released. As always, please give us a star rating. Give us a 5-star rating if possible. If you enjoyed this, give us a review. We love to read the reviews and the comments and the questions. So, yeah, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
And we will see you very, very soon. Up the gun, 3 points on Sunday. Let's go. Get it.
Indeed. Up the gunners. Cheers, guys.
Come on!